This is an Alter Nerd Reality podcast.
What's up, everyone, and welcome back to Adventures of Runeterra, a D&D based podcast set in the wonderful world of Runeterra, which is of course the prime plane for the League of Legends universe. Just as a quick refresher for those of you just hopping in on this adventure right now, D&D is collective storytelling where the DM controls the world and gives us obstacles. We, as the players, roll various dice to see if we succeed or fail in our chosen responses. We are using a 5e D&D rules and some of the newly released Riot D&D Beyond partnered content to help bring all this to life. So, this is episode number 2 now. Thanks again for joining, and now let's go ahead and meet the cast. I am Hebrew Hammer playing Pharaoh, the gentleman thief who opened a very, very bad box last episode. Sorry, what a hell of an apology this is gonna be. All right, next we have Chewburger84.
Hey, what's up, guys? I play Salem, and I really wish I chose a different voice for recording 6 a.m. in the morning.
That's very true. I don't know what it would be like to try to sound like the Joker at 6 o'clock in the morning, but it can't be fun.
Yeah, shaking off the cobwebs is hard, man.
Yeah. All right, and then next, of course, we have the one and only Ray Mayhem.
Hey guys, I play Nose, Vestayan spellcaster dealing with a necrotic disaster.
Ooh,
A
yeah.
little rhyme action?
Poetry in this one.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah. All right. Now, next we have Sean. I don't know why I'm laughing at this.
I haven't even said anything.
I was going to say something about you, but I bailed on it last second. I'm not going to do it anymore. But next we have Irish, a.k.a. Sean.
What's up, guys? I am playing Drek, the salty barnacle. And where I'm from is not just the crabs that are crusty.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, God.
oh Lord.
I don't think I want to eat at that seafood restaurant. Just so
Where are you from again, so I can avoid it at all costs?
yeah, I'm gonna review that place on Yelp badly.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and then lastly, of course, we have our amazing DM, Shibby.
Hi everyone, I am the nose and chin of Runeterra.
Well,
I see what you did.
Nice.
all right. Well, I guess that is going to go ahead and bring us over to our recap. I don't want to waste any more of anyone's time. So, Shibby, why don't you go ahead and take us through what happened last episode? Paint your wonderful word pictures for us again.
On the previous episode, we journeyed to Runeterra and the pirate city of Bilgewater, where we met a motley crew of miscreants and malcontents drawn by fate to the Lusty Squid Tavern. Tayloom, the mad renegade in town to make a valuable trade. The smooth-talking Pharaoh, a wild card hunting a bounty for gold. Pharaoh's quarry Drek, the hard-drinking Yordle barbarian. And Nose, the Vestayan druid, a traveller in a strange new land. After a spate of sticky fingers and mistaken identity, our heroes found themselves in a tense standoff, guns and magic at the ready, and turned upon each other. Luckily, you reached common ground in your love for motorboating and hate for no good cheaters, and instead joined up to steal a treasure from the belly of a dead kraken at the docks. Drek took the most direct route into the kraken to reach its treasure, and after a tussle with some explosive, poop-flinging powder monkeys, you made off with the goods. When you opened the chest, however, you got much more than you bargained for. Instead of finding gold or jewels, you were inflicted with the Black Mark and came face to face with the saltwater scourge himself, Captain Gangplank, swearing bloody vengeance on his great enemy, Misfortune, the ruler of Bilgewater. And that's where we pick up, with all you crouched over the chest in the alleyway, your hands tingling from the Black Mark, and the words of Gangplank ringing in your ears.
So, Pharaoh slowly stands up, and you can tell that he is visibly shaken by the fact that Gangplank is right behind him. And you can see him kind of collect himself for a second. He breathes out, and he kind of like looks up at his new allies, kind of like in a be careful kind of way. He turns around very quickly at that point and says, Gangplank, hallelujah, you're alive. Mother Serpent be praised. I thought you were dead. In fact, everyone thought you were dead. And it looks like you're not, so that's fantastic news right there. I must say, you are looking mighty good for a man who's supposed to be dead. I will say that too. Looks like you got yourself a new arm, which is nice. It looks like it's metal, so that's pretty cool. So, you know, I think this right here, though, is all just a big misunderstanding because we were working for a little Vestayan fellow named Spit. You see, who I'm guessing now is your employee. And you see, we were just getting this chest and we were checking it for him to make sure that it wasn't booby trapped or anything like that. Turns out, as you know, it was. And but you know, we weren't intending to take anything at all.
I don't care about your intentions, laddie. You'll be coming with me now. But we aren't to speak in the alleyways of Bilgewater. There are ears and eyes everywhere. We won't be exchanging a word till we reach the docks and we're out on open water.
He gives you all a menacing grin, steps back into the fog, and then motions for you all to follow.
So he feels, obviously Pharaoh feels terrible about the fact that he just got all of these people into this situation, kind of. I mean, it wasn't just him, but, you know, he doesn't feel great about the situation. He kind of looks back at his allies, and he kind of is conveying through this look back to his companions, like, you guys need to take this really seriously and don't try anything, because Gangplank is incredibly dangerous. So I look back and I say, we need to go with them. There's nothing more we can do for now.
Drek just kind of looks at him and like shakes his head, puts his clothes back on after Nose was giving him a nice warm bath, and he just starts marching after Gangplank because he knows how this is run. So yeah, so he just walks on past everyone.
I follow in Drek's footsteps, assuming that everyone's coming at this point. Then,
If we hang back, DM, does anything happen to us?
You can see the silhouette of Gangplank lurking in the mist, and he insists on waiting for you to follow. If you don't, he isn't leaving. His presence is sort of a menacing background to the whole scene. You feel compelled in a way.
So I guess Nose will follow the group.
Drek turns around impatiently and he's like, "You're all coming? What's taking so long?" And then basically, yeah. And then he just keeps marching.
Did Drek say that or did Sean say that?
they're starting to blur together.
There it is. There it is.
Yeah.
And T-Loom basically sort of narrows his eyes a little bit as if questioning why we're sort of going along with this, because obviously he has no idea who Gangplank is, but basically walks after the others, but does sort of keep his pistol by his side, pulls the hammer back as quietly as he possibly can, just in case we change our mind.
Okay. Gangplank leads you through a maze of alleyways, all silent as the grave, till you reach the dock of orphans and a waiting rowboat. Spit the Vestayan is waiting in the boat and gives you all a shit-eating grin.
Like what you found, did ya?
You knew we were going to open that, didn't you?
You all thought you're smarter than Spit, but Spit is the smartest of all.
Nose is gonna look him up and down, and in her head she's imagining how good a, like, Vestayan ferret stole would look, and she just, like, tucks that away for later. Then, like, when given the opportunity, she's gonna, like, skin and wear this little sucker. She does not like him.
And Spit turns to you, Pharaoh, and says,
You thought you were stealing my paper. I wanted you to steal Spit's paper. Spit is smarter than a stupid human.
Pharaoh's going to just look him up and down, stay silent, and you can tell he's fiddling with something in his pocket, like almost if he's trying to debate doing something.
Okay. The boat pushes off, and you row into the soundless fog. After a few minutes, you reach a huge warship anchored in the harbour, well known to you, Drek, the Wise Man's Folly. A rope ladder scales the side of the ship. Gangplank motions for you to climb.
Drek just leaps into the air onto the rope ladder, right, and just starts climbing up, so without hesitation.
It's amazing to me how Drek's just like, I want to know what Drek's life is that he's so like whatever about the situation that's happening right now.
It's just another Tuesday.
Right? Yeah. All right. So Pharaoh gets up, and as he does, he was kind of seated next to Spit, and as he does, he purposely knocks him really hard into the water with the oar.
Okay.
And he goes, "Oh, sorry about that, friend. Didn't mean it."
All right, make an athletics check for me. As a shove, we'll call it.
As a shove? Okay. That is 14. All right, so that's going to be a 17 total.
Yeah, that's a success. So you see Spit just take the oar in the face and just flies into the water, is now sopping wet. He goes, yeah.
Can I go ahead and extend out a hand? And I say, sorry about that, friend. And I reach out my hand as if to try to help him.
Yep. And
then as I do, as I grab him, I kind of just like pull him underwater with my hand. Not to kill him, but just to like screw with him even more.
Yeah, no worries. You just dunk him even more. And Gangplank turns to you and says,
Stop your playing and get up onto the deck.
Will do. I'll hop right to it. And I just leave him. I just take my hand away and I leave him back in the water. Sorry, duty calls. I yell back to him as I climb up the ladder.
And Spit drags himself out of the water, pulls himself up into the boat, does that dog-like shake, water flying everywhere over everyone, including Gangplank, who is not appreciative.
Oh.
He goes, I'll get you for that. Spit remembers everything.
I was just trying to help you out of the water.
You think you're smarter than Spit. Spit knows when you're a lying human. Spit is a lying Vastai, after all. And Vastaians are better at it.
Well, I think that you'll find when this is all done, you might be disagreeing with that. And if it wasn't for your friend being around, I think that you might be choosing your words a little more carefully. And I very subtly make a gesture towards Gangplank and nod as I'm looking at Spit in the eyes.
Maybe you should get better friends. Spit has the best friends.
Oh, don't worry. I think we'll soon find out who has better friends. And I leer at him while I say it.
That's a matter of debate.
I kind of shrug it off and start looking like I'm interested in the scenery around, kind of checking everything out.
All right, what's the rest of everyone doing?
I'm gonna let everybody else climb up the ladder or the rope before me because Nose does have robes on, so she's like she probably should not go ahead of the guys. So she'll be the last.
What do you take us for?
Listen, dude, I
What happens in Ionia that's so bad?
She's got a tail. It's hard not to look. So, I'll be the.
Wait, real quick. Is she? I'm sorry to interrupt you, but is she shy about her tail? Is that like a thing, or
she's not? She is a little shy about the way she looks in general because like she's not used to being around like humans and stuff, and she gets a lot of stares. So, that's just like. You know, she's a little sensitive about the way that she looks, especially
self-conscious
out amongst all the normies. So,
gotcha.
But I'll be the last one that climbs up onto the deck.
So Taylum climbs up onto the deck and is pretending to sort of like give everyone just a really devilish grin, as if he's incredibly happy to be here, and trying to look a little bit crazy to the people on deck. But at the same time, he's scanning that ship intently, looking for a way out of this.
I just imagine right now, Pharaoh is like staring at him like while he's looking crazy and just like, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
Yeah, he's just wandering from like crew member to crew member going like, some of the morning. And then like just walks past Gangplank like it's no big deal and just sort of, gives him a nod saying, oh, Captain, my Captain.
Oh, God.
So now you're on the deck, you can see that there's barely a skeleton crew, and the ship appears mostly empty save for the hint of lamplight coming from the captain's cabin. Gangplank, after having engaged in a bit of a face-off blinking contest with you, No Say, as to who would climb the ladder first, make a intimidation check for me to see who blinks first in terms of the rope ladder climbing out of the boat situation.
That'll be an 18.
Wow, okay. So, alright. So you and Gangplank kind of like sit there in the bobbing boat while the others had climbed the ladder, and he kind of like stares you down. And then he goes,
Well, I don't think we've got all day, do we? Suppose, ladies first isn't something where you come from.
and he climbs up the ladder begrudgingly. And for those who have seen this, No Say the Vestayan just stared down the most fearsome pirate in Bilgewater, it would appear, as he climbed up onto the
I feel like she found a secret feat inside D&B Beyond called Stare Contest, and it never is useful for anything except for right
Can
now.
I vote that we rename it the Care Bear Stare?
The Care Bear Stare? That's right.
We could definitely make that a thing.
So Gangplank and Spit, having joined you on the deck, lead you to the cabin door. Spit opens it and waits for you to enter.
Drek immediately pushes him aside and like runs through the door and immediately looks for a liquor cabinet.
Oh my god, this is
Oh, Lord.
That's why he was so eager. It's like, there's booze in here. I can smell it.
yeah, the pirates. There's got to be booze here.
So yeah, can I see if there's a liquor cabinet
Can I
around?
roll for
Anything in
alcohol?
there?
Make a perception
Okay.
check for
Should
us.
you be seen if you're gonna die from this or not first?
Let's see. Here we go. Dang it. Okay, 5.
You don't see a liquor cabinet, but there are some glasses of rum on the table.
Okay.
Now that you've failed in your ability to locate the liquor cabinet, you do decide to take in the time to actually look at the room that you've walked into, or rather push your way into. You can
Okay.
see that you are now in a cabin that is very well furnished. There's a large table at the center of the room, covered in maps and papers and wooden figures of some unknown significance, and a couple of glasses of rum. Standing at the head of the table, his head bent over the papers and hands pressed to the wooden surface, you see a man in his 30s, with slicked back, dark hair and a thick handlebar mustache, dressed in plain sailor's clothes under a long navy coat. Spit bows before the man and says,
May I present the new captain of the Folly, Phineas Bragg.
Drek, you recognize this man as the first mate from your old ship, but he went by a different name back then. Bragg says, So you've met our benefactor. Not what you're expecting, I'm sure. He's motioning to Gangplank, as he says.
Can I, just seeing this go down, can I kind of sense if like they know each other? Because I don't really know Drek at all, so
Yeah, make an
can I
insight
use
check
like
for us.
insight? Okay. Ooh, that is a 10 plus, I think I have good insight. Plus 2, so that's a 12.
Are you trying to conceal your past relationship with Bragg, Drek?
Yeah, I'm just trying to like not acknowledge him at this point, and my focus is mainly on those rum glasses sitting on the table. So.
Okay, so make it to...
This makes you impossible to read because you just don't care about anything but fear.
Make a deception check for me.
Okay. 16.
16. You can't detect any connection between the two, Pharaoh.
Okay, fair enough. Are all of us in the room at this point, including Gangplank?
Gangplank is in the room, at the very least. Or at the very least, he would have waited for all of you to enter the cabin before he joined you. What is everyone else doing?
I definitely walk in.
Real quick, Drek, he walks over to the table with the rum glasses and grabs one and sits in the chair and puts his feet up on the table.
At that, Bragg gives you a scathing look and says, Drek, you mangy wharf rat. You still sore about that little swim you took? You should be thankful I didn't put a dagger between your ribs. Get your shoes off my table, you filthy little...
I casually take my feet off the table, but I'm really cocky about it, so I'm just kind of like, lucky for me, I'm a good swimmer. You couldn't get rid of me, could ya? And I just like look at him up and down, and I take a sip of the rum, and really classy, like, right?
Pinky up.
Pinky up.
Pinky up, pinky up. Yeah, absolutely. So, and then I slowly drink it all, and then I put the glass on the table.
I wouldn't be so satisfied if I were you. I, on the other hand, having a lot of satisfaction knowing that the bounty I put on your head ended with you with the black mark. You have your friend here and emotions at Pharaoh to thank for that. In fact, one might say you both owe each other a debt of gratitude. Your fates are now entwined.
Pharaoh kind of looks back at Drek, almost apologetically for the past. And then I say, so you're the one that put the bounty out for him. Well, as a professional, I must inform you that I was not able to fulfill the contract of the bounty. Circumstances changed and I did abandon that bounty, and even though he is an unusual type and quite a pain most of the time, he is quite an interesting fellow. So the credit's not mine. And I kind of look over to Drek and give him a little nod of assurance, like,
And then I interject and I go, let's be honest, that bounty was never going to get fulfilled. So, you know, it's past us at this point.
I think you'll find that we have fulfilled it. Wanted alive, brought to the wise men's folly. I think you've done a wonderful job, Pharaoh. Even if you did fall ass backwards into success.
Seeing just a glimmer of potential opportunity to pull something off here, I say, you know what? Maybe I was being just a bit too humble. You're right. I did, in fact, bring him here. So why don't we go ahead and I'll take my portion of the gold. We can split it up. I can bring a few of my friends back as well. And we can just be on our merry way. And I won't mention this or the fact that Gangplank is alive. None of it. Not a lick to anyone. Gangplank who, I say. No offense. As I look over to Gangplank in his general direction.
I think you'll find that the Black Mark will insist otherwise. Taylum, where are you at the moment?
So I've basically been circling the room, just kind of really sussing things out. So can I just sort of do a perception check, just to basically scan the room for any weapons or anything explosive or anything of that nature?
Sure, go for it.
Okay.
And while you're at it, can you give a little description of your character for us?
Yeah, sure. So he's about 5'9". He's incredibly sort of a lean, lithe sort of build. So he kind of looks like if a marathon runner lifted is probably like the best description I can give for you. He's about 145 pounds. But yeah, basically you could tell that this guy could just move. He's got like this weird kind of off-kilter grace about him that you kind of think that he could just, move with the wind, if you will, or like water. And he's got a really sort of pallorish style complexion to his skin, where it almost kind of looks like he's coming down with stomach poisoning, like he doesn't look 100% well. And on one side of his face, he has kind of a very slight palsy, where basically one side of his mouth doesn't quite match up to the other side, which even when his face is just resting, it makes him look like he kind of has a little bit of a sinister grin on one side, like he's smirking. And he has sort of bleached-ish kind of blonde hair, about shoulder length, but he normally wears it a little bit higher up on the back in a short ponytail.
Amazing. And what did you get for your perception check?
I got, let me roll it since I forgot all about it. I got a 18 plus the 2 is going to be a dirty 20.
Nice.
Yeah.
You don't see any explosives or weapons loose in the room. But you do see that there is a hand cannon and cutlass on Gangplank, which he was brandishing earlier, and you see a hand crossbow and a longsword at the side of Bragg.
Okay.
But other than the weapons that they hold, you don't see anything else in the room.
Okay. So, Talon, while he's saying this, how many rum glasses are on the table?
4.
4. Okay, great. So what he does is he picks up one glass and like takes a bit of a swig and sort of grimaces at it as if it's, some kind of, bilge poison. And while he's talking, he's gesturing very wildly with his hands. So the rum's kind of spilling all over the table in front of him. And he's saying...
I see where this is going.
So he's saying... So look, this black mark, it's not permanent. It's just for one little job, I assume.
Well, it really all depends upon the size of the job, after all. One could always say that a job is made of many jobs. And this particular job is.
So in the process of that, he basically, as if he's like slamming down a shot, he basically throws what's remaining of that particular glass, like the contents over his shoulder, and then slams the cup down and goes, like it was really good, and then picks up a second one and starts basically walking around the table, repeating the same gestures, spilling the rum on the table, and while still talking, of course.
Real quick, while this is happening, okay, Drek sees what's happening and he grabs that last glass so he can't get it.
All right. Can you please make for me, Taylum, a deception check to disguise what it is you're doing in front of everyone?
Sure. All right, that's going to be only a 10 at base, but that'll be a 14.
14?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh, God.
And as you wander by Gangplank, as you're wildly gesticulating and pontificating on the matters of the world and black marks and the nature of soul bargains and so on, splashing the rum about the room and on the papers, and one might suspect anything flammable aboard a ship, you feel Gangplank rest a hand on your shoulder and say,
Don't be getting any ideas, laddie. Gangplank only falls for those sorts of things once in a lifetime.
So Taylum smiles at him, sort of appreciating the fact that he picked up where this was going, and just says, look, I would have thought that you strike me as the kind of guy that if you don't like the deal on the table, you burn the table down.
I have to admire your insane moxie, but there won't be any getting out of this particular deal.
Bragg injects and says, I'm afraid it's true. The black mark that you have all now been inflicted with is a nasty bit of sorcery. The chest was an artifact of the Shadow Isles, hard won by our great leader here, and he motions to Gangplank. Through its magic, you have been inflicted with a terrible curse. Even now you must feel it infecting your very bones. 1 month you'll have before it finishes its evil work and sends you to the loving embrace of the bearded lady. There's only one way to avoid this fate. Gangplank holds the mark, and it's his will that you must now serve. Accomplish your tasks, and the black mark will no longer stain your souls.
Drek walks over to Gangplank and he's like, you could have just asked, I would have done it. It's not a problem. But, okay, I guess you gotta do this black mark thing.
And your friends here, would they be similarly willing, do you think?
Oh, probably not. So I guess you got a point there. I'll give you that.
I interject at that point and I say, look, if I can just be honest with you, we'll do the jobs. We know we have to. Cards on the table. All right? So, given the inherent danger that's going to be coming with these jobs, at least from what I can imagine, considering you had to enthrall us in order to make us do them, why don't you go ahead and just throw some money on top, and that way whenever it's all wrapped up and we are unenthralled, then we can all walk away happy. Works for everyone, I think.
Your lives aren't payment enough?
Well, you see, this is for your benefit too. Probably put your mind at ease, because if you think about it like this, if you have an unpaid employee, the employee's probably going to be pretty upset whenever he's done with his job, right? Well, if you pay the employee, make him happy, feed him, put him up nice, then he has no reason to speak out or do you any harm in the future. That is what I'm saying. I'm not saying we would do anything like that. Mother Serpent knows we wouldn't. But it puts your mind at ease, and it also makes us happy to do these jobs, because I promise, we would do them for money anyways. And as I do that also, I'm going to take out a card using my sleight of hand and just, like, not going to use it, but I'm going to basically, like, palm it.
Okay, make a sleight of hand check for me.
Okay. I want to let you guys know the only reason why I'm risking this is because I have really, really good sleight of hand.
Watch him roll one.
Oh, no. That's a 14 without my sleight of hand, which I believe is a 6. Yeah, so that's a dirty 20, actually.
Okay.
Gross.
So you...
I feel like Jazar from the League of Extraordinary Dicemen right now with all of his charisma checks.
So you palm the card with your dirty 20, and Bragg replies to you, "Whenever you're dealing with anything valuable, why pay full price when you can get it for free?"
I can respect a hustle, I suppose, but let me ask you one question. What are the parameters of this quote-unquote black mark? If we tried to, I don't know, run away, obviously it sounds like we would die. But how can we trust you to let us go of this black mark once we finished?
Well, either it will have gone, and our word has been proven true, or you float in White Wharf. Those seem to be your options. You can always try to run from the black mark, but I can assure you there is no running. It will find you wherever you manage to stow yourselves away.
Can we do a perception check or an insight check to see if this guy's lying in regard to letting us go when this is done?
Yeah, make an insight check.
Okay. This is not my strong suit from memory. So that's going to be a flat 14.
Okay. You get the impression that part of what he's saying is true, but it's mixed up in a little bit of lie.
In other words, letting us go
parts?
means firing us out of a cannon.
Maybe.
Right.
You can't quite tell. But he's not being entirely truthful, nor is he being entirely deceptive.
So I sit down on one of the chairs and I put my feet up on not on the table, but on one of the other chairs, taking note from what happened with Drek. And I say, all right, then, it looks like we're going to be forced to do this. So what are the jobs?
Well, it's good to see that you've come to see reason. An interloper now sits atop the heap in Bilgewater. Miss Fortune. In 1 month, Gangplank will have her head, or you will be losing yours. Follow orders and do your part, and it'll be Miss Fortune floating in White Wharf instead of you. Won't be easy to kill the Queen of Pirates, though. There's a crew, the Sirens, and a city of allies between us and her. But the wench herself will be the greatest challenge. Don't let her looks deceive you. She's got more assets than just those barely stuffed in her leather corset. And then he draws your attention to a map of Bilgewater that's on the table, and gestures at the city from top to bottom. The Aeries, Rat Town, the Slaughter Docks, Black Market Grotto. All in a state of constant warfare, with every gang and crew fighting for supremacy. We'll start at the bottom and work our way to the top. Eliminate Fortune's allies in the districts, her favoured captains and gang leaders. Take out her hand-picked crew one by one. Sow strife and discord in their wake. And we'll cause enough instability for Fortune to poke her head out and put herself at risk. Create a threat she can't ignore. Here's where you'll start. And he points to the floating markets in a cave you know as the Leviathan's Maw, part of the Black Market Grotto. Fortune's woman in the grotto is known only as the Metal Mistress. No one knows her true identity. Some say no one's even seen her face. But we've got word her personal courier will be meeting with a mercenary named Orlo in a private room on the 3rd floor of the Pillage and Plunder Auction House. Meeting set for midday tomorrow. They keep the good stuff on the 3rd floor. No one gets up there without good reason. But I'm sure you'll think of something. Find the courier. Use them to get back to the mistress, and rid the grotto of her influence by any means necessary. Once you've done that, Spit will find you and give you your next mission. Now you sodden bilge rats, get moving. The clock is, after all, ticking.
Drek walks over to Gangplank, and he's still got the glass in his hand, and he kind of looks up at him. He's like,
So, it's nighttime. What do you say we do one?
And he tries to persuade Gangplank into drinking a bottle of rum with him.
Okay, make a persuasion check.
Come on, baby, give me something good. Nice. That's gonna be a 16.
A 16.
Oh, no.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
And he turns to you and says,
Well, it has been a while since I've drank with a yordle. Why not?
and he takes a bottle of rum off the table that had been with the 4 glasses, steps out to the rest of the crew, and announces,
Welcome the newest members of me crew. Why don't you all introduce yourselves?
he begins to pour out more rum in the glasses for each of you. All the sailors standing forward, looking like the hardest and toughest scurvy sea dogs you've ever seen.
Well, hello, everyone. My name is Pharaoh, and I'm looking out into the crowd. I see a few familiar faces, so I just want to go ahead and apologize now to anyone that I might have stolen from, cheated, or tried to kill in my past, and I think even some of you may have tried to kill me, so do not worry, all is forgiven. Let's all be friends, and go forward in a prosperous co-worker relationship. And I put a big smile on my face.
Drek raises his glass and then just drinks it all at once.
Nose says nothing. She is staring down Gangplank. She just has him pinned with like her unsettling, like yellow-eyed gaze, and she is not breaking eye contact.
Invoking your stare down feat.
Yes. Yes.
It strikes again.
Drek walks over to Nose and he sees the full glass in her hand and he's like,
You gonna drink that?
Without looking at him, she's just gonna hand it down to him and still maintain eye contact with Gangplank.
Brag. So he's kind of running the show, is what we've established, right?
He would appear to be Gangplank's man on the ground. You don't know who Gangplank is, but it'll be well familiar to Pharaoh and Drek that Gangplank was presumed dead up until this point.
Right. So when everyone else walks in, I hang back to talk with him for a sec. And I basically say, Look, I know you don't care about our lives, but you want this mission to be a success, right?
Of course.
Well, see, I came here looking for gun parts. Very rare, very hard to find gun parts, and if I had those before this mission, it would go a lot more swimmingly.
It seems you don't know a ruse when you see one. There were no parts, you fool. All you've won is the black mark, and a terrible prize it is.
So at this point, upon hearing that, you see the face of Talum shift dramatically, and there's basically almost like a rage that he's not even really trying to contain. And he basically says, I will take this ship apart plank by freaking plank, if I have to find something to make this worth my while.
Make an intimidation check for me.
Jesus, what a play.
That is going to be 18 on the base plus 2, that's a dirty 20.
So there's this moment.
Thank God.
There's this moment where it's like in every buddy cop film where there's like they're in the interrogation room and one of the partners is saying, he's crazy, man, he's crazy, I don't know what he's gonna do. And he sees that in your eyes in that moment. And you see ever slightly this look of fear, if not perhaps a look of, have I miscalculated with the people that have been drawn into this? And he says, well, if I don't have gun parts, then what are you proposing? What would make it worth your while?
Well, if you don't have gun parts, I guess the only thing I can look for is your assistance in this. Up until now, Gangplank was supposedly dead, right?
And we'd prefer to keep it that way until he decides to fully reveal himself. Once all our work is done, of course.
And up until that point, wouldn't this ship have been yours?
It is mine.
Is it? It seems remarkably like he's running the show now.
What are you implying?
Well, I'm implying that, having a ship taken away from you, that must hurt deep inside. Like having someone's gun parts taken away from them.
Are you suggesting something, you madman, or are you merely trying to provoke me?
I'm just suggesting that if you want help getting back what's yours, the same way I'm trying to get back what's mine, perhaps I'd be willing to offer my assistance if you'd be helping us remove a certain black mark.
The only way you'll be removing the black mark is to do your part. I think I've made that quite clear. But if you're suggesting something little on the side, well, I am a pirate after all.
Oh, I'm always suggesting something on the side, my dear friend.
And he carefully glances out through the door of the cabin to see the rest of the crew and your compatriots, and most importantly, Gangplank, enjoying a round of drinks. And he carefully lowers his voice, and he turns to you and says, "Well then, speak plainly, my friend. What are you proposing?"
I'm saying that perhaps Gangplank, maybe there's a way that we can help you make him walk the plank.
And put me in charge instead of him?
Well, you do seem to be significantly wiser and more intelligent than him. You're definitely more handsome.
That is true, that is true. He is quite formidable, though. It wouldn't be easy, and we'd be creating a second enemy for ourselves in addition to Misfortune, who is difficult enough to deal with on her own.
Oh, I'm not saying we do this now. We wait until the end. He's going to be celebrating, thinking he's got everything that he wanted, and that's when we strike.
I must say, the thought does appeal to me. After all, he was my father's enemy before Misfortune became an enemy as well. I won't say yes right now, but if you do your part and start laying the groundwork, I'm always open to a little backstabbery down the road.
Well, let me put it this way. If we come back and he tries to double-cross us, consider that the signal to start firing.
And are you lumping me in with this whole us reference? You think to compare me to one of you?
Well, I'm a man that believes in legacy. If your father was the enemy of this one, then shouldn't that make him your enemy? And if he's your enemy and currently he's mine, then that would make us friends.
Your logic is impeccable. Look, go about your task, prove that you're up to the deeds that have been set before you. We complete Gangplank's will and rid you of the black mark. But we needn't do our work without also seeing to it that we too benefit in the long run. After all, you need only kill Misfortune to remove the black mark. That is Gangplank's will after all. There's nothing in this contract to say that he needn't also meet the bearded lady's embrace, along with Misfortune.
Precisely. Anyway, it's been a long day. I'm sure you want to get a rest.
We'll talk again. When Spit finds you and sets you about your next task, I'll ensure to see to it that we cross paths as well fortuitously, and we'll speak further on the matter.
Actually, on that note, how attached are you to Spit?
Well, it would look a little suspicious if you did do away with him before the deed's done. Not that one couldn't blame you. You're not thinking of killing him, are you?
Oh, I wouldn't think of anything like that. I'm just saying that sometimes when you're making an omelette, you will accidentally break an egg.
You make a lot of omelettes, do you?
I break a lot of eggs.
Very well. At the very least, keep him alive for a little longer. He's served his worth. Sometimes you need expendables about. You need dog to kick every so often.
Oh, trust me, I know that urge.
He looks outside to Drek. I'm joking.
And he looks and he goes, I can only imagine that's why you keep that yordle about. He used to be part of our crew, you see, and I did a bit of kicking myself. Sent him for a little swim.
Really?
You should ask him about it at some time.
Why don't you just tell me? That might be handy information for me to have.
Well, while they're talking, right, Drek is doing the Harlem Shuffle over in the corner with a bottle of rum.
All right. He goes, well, I think this could be the beginning of a beautiful friendship, as they say. Do keep in touch. Keep Spit alive long enough so that we can arrange to meet again. If he becomes too much trouble, then we can remove him from the picture after that. One can never be too sure where his loyalties, or really anyone's loyalties, lie after all. Speaking of which, you really ought to keep an eye on that Drek fellow. I think that he's cut from the same cloth as our friend Spit is.
Oh, sounds like a skid-marked rotten piece of cloth to me.
This was quite a beautiful bit of poetry. I couldn't have said it better myself. Shall we join the others? It only looks suspicious if we continue to talk, just between the two of us.
Absolutely, let's go.
And he pours another glass of rum, hands it to you, and then he steps out to join the festivities.
Can I want to see if I can basically like have something happen in parallel to that at the same time while that was going on.
Absolutely.
But in order to do that, I want to check to see if I basically kind of overheard or got the gist of what was going on in there.
Okay. Make a perception check, and I'll get you, True, to make a stealth check.
Ooh. That is a 10 plus...
Okay, so you are quite lucky that I
Plus
would have
2, so
outrolled
it's a
you,
12.
but because I wear chainmail underneath my gear, I roll with disadvantage on stealth checks.
Oh!
So yeah, I got on the
Nice.
second roll of 3. Otherwise, I would have destroyed you.
All right.
I'll go so far as to say that you see them talking.
Okay.
Taylor makes a lot of noise when he's walking, and you hear the jingle of his chainmail come from the cabin, and you spot out of the corner of your eye that he's having what looks to be quite the intense conversation with Bragg, and it looks suspicious. But as to overhearing most of that conversation, I'll say you would only be able to intuit what it was they were talking about, perhaps, rather than having heard the actual content.
Right. Okay. Is Gangplank accessible right now? Like while they're having that conversation, is he somewhere where I could go and just grab his ear real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. So I'm going to go over there and I'm going to say, after seeing them have a conversation and kind of guessing that something's going on, just to kind of protect myself, I'm going to head over to Gangplank. I'm going to say, well, since I am your new crewmate, do you mind if I talk to you for just one quick second about our future together?
As long as you make it quick.
I think we should talk probably somewhere a little more private.
If you insist.
And he leads you towards the forecastle.
Okay. So I am going to go ahead and once we're, kind of closed off from everyone else, I'm going to say, look, so I have no idea how you survived what happened after misfortune, but I have to say my hat's off to you. As one hustler to another, I'd say that is one of the most impressive moves I've ever seen. Everyone in Bilgewater thought you were dead.
Don't think that you can compare yourself to me.
Not at all. You are many times greater than I could ever hope to be. That is for sure. But I am not one to stick my nose up at opportunity, and I will say, since I am a gambling man after all, if I had to bet on who was going to come out ahead in this battle for Bilgewater, so to speak, I would put my money on you. So, seeing as now we're in a type of employment relationship regardless of the circumstances, I think maybe you and I could work something out that's beneficial to both of us.
Do the circumstances concern you? I found that a man with a noose around his neck isn't always the most trustworthy after all.
That's true, but I figured you might say something like that, so I will provide you with just a little bit of information that I think you might like. And I tell him, you know your man downstairs, Bragg?
Aye.
Well, he happens to be having a little conversation right now with our man, and I'll tell you what, it looks like one of the very suspicious nature. And on top of that, I happen to know this man from my past, and he has quite the reputation of being someone to have a dagger ready when your back might be turned, let's say.
Make a deception check for me.
Okay.
Unless, are you referring to more recent events, or was that a straight out lie from your perspective?
That was, are you talking about the reputation?
Yeah.
That was a straight out lie.
Okay.
Yeah. So deception, luckily I am skilled in ooh, okay. No, that's a 9, but I have +5, so that's a 14.
Okay. Gangplank, inscrutable as always, says,
And so what are you implying they're up to?
Well, you see, I find it quite opportunistic of your man Braggs to be having a secret conversation with one of my companions. And this companion in particular is a bit of a loose cannon. He's a madman, you see. And, well, it does not look good that he is making some kind of deal, perhaps, with someone who has nothing to lose. Luckily for you, however, I do have control over this madman, a leash, so to speak, to rein him in. Now, this group, we've become quite tightly knit, and that's very lucky for you, because I think that I might be able to sway them any way that I want. Now, I would go ahead and do this. If your man Braggs does not come to you after we leave and mention this conversation with our man downstairs, well, that would indeed confirm my suspicions. So, at that point, I'd say you do have something to worry about. So I'll be your man on the inside of this group, and we can tell you if something's happening with your man Braggs. And if it is, I'll have my companion continue to talk to him in the meantime, and we'll make sure that whenever his move is made, we'll be on the right side. Your side.
And he pauses and chews over what it is you've just said. He says,
Tell me, where do you fall on misfortune? Tell me that first.
Well, if I'm to be honest with you, I don't care for her one bit. You see, Bilgewater needs a strong ruler, a ruthless ruler, one like yourself. You see, it is no secret that Bilgewater is a chaos-driven city, filled with crime, and it needs a boss in order to keep things in line. Otherwise, it would be complete anarchy. No one wants that. We need rules. We need leadership. Now, MS stabbed you in the back because she thought that she could do better. But what happened whenever she took her place? She tried ruling with 2 other criminal organizations to make it more of a democratic situation. But what happened? Those other 2 criminal organizations turned on her, tried to kill her. What did she do? She killed them back. We have ourselves a problem again. Chaos ensued once more. You see, I'm not willing to let my sweet town of Bilgewater be slid back into chaos once again for her arrogance and ignorance of leadership. Good people of Bilgewater don't deserve that, now do they? They need someone like you. The Iron Fist. The Iron Fist that you now metaphorically and literally have. So I would say that there's no better man for the job, especially now, more than ever.
make a deception or persuasion check, your choice, depending on how Pharaoh actually feels about what he said. And you can tell us what that is, you can keep it to yourself if you want.
It's a 15 that I rolled, but I'm going to message you what it is as far as persuasion or deception.
Okay. Gangplank looks at you and says,
"You're asking for more monetary compensation before. You do what you say. You keep an eye on Bragg, you keep an eye on that skinny pale one that you call a friend. You keep an eye on all of them for old Gangplank. And you'll be paid handsomely when all this is done. In gold, not just the removal of black marks."
I am looking forward to that very much, thank you. And also, I would just like to say, maybe we can even extend this relationship a little further. I am obviously a man, or soon you will see that I'm a man that you can trust, and I would like an opportunity to maybe rise up in the ranks of your army.
If Bragg is doing what it is you say he's doing, then it might be that the wise man's folly will be looking for a new pirate captain, not before too long. And perhaps there might be someone fast rising through the ranks who fits that description.
Well, I can't think of a better man to fit the job, so I know you're very busy, and I'm sure the conversation must be wrapping up soon, so think about what I said. I will do my part, and we'll see where it takes us. Thank you very much for listening. And I walk back down to the other two.
and as you depart Gangplank from the Fubble Castle and you return to the revelry, you glance back once and you can see the foreboding figure of Gangplank silhouetted against the night sky and the moon on the forecastle. He hasn't followed after you. Instead, he looms over you like the great shadow that he now is and has been inserted into your life through almost the personification of the black mark that is upon your very hand. And a little shiver runs down your spine as you return to the crew. But it would appear that he's intrigued by what you said. Drek and Nose, what are you guys up to?
Drek is dancing in front of Nose. Whether she's paying attention to him or not, it's regardless. So that's what he's doing right now. So he's got a bottle in his hand.
Make a performance check for me.
A peacock check?
Yes.
A peacock check?
All right, now, are you a better dancer when you're drunk, or are you a worse dancer when you're drunk?
Let's see. Wait. What kind of check am I doing right now?
Performance.
Performance. Okay.
Now, if you think that your choice, you're either dancing with advantage or you're dancing with disadvantage.
I have to stick true, and it's disadvantage. So let's see. Here we go. First roll. Okay, that was a good roll. Let me see. Okay, 11.
11. It's average. It's not terrible. He's got some moves. There's some white boy dancing there. A little maybe too much arm action, but
every now and then I try to strike a glance at her to see if she's paying attention to me. But
Pharaoh sees him when he's coming down the stairs, and he kind of starts to do a little jig on his way down.
Do you want to roll for performance too?
Yes.
It's a dance-off. Yes,
Yes,
finally
I do.
reached the dance-off part of the show.
Oh, that's good.
So all the rest of the crew forms a circle on the deck around you. They all kind of like the classic. There's now a dance-off,
Lord.
the traditional
Do you
pirate
guys-
dance-off part of the revelry.
Do you guys know that meme or that gif where it's like the pirates dancing and one of them's doing the that move where he kicks his legs up?
The Cossack dance?
Yeah, have you guys seen that?
Is that what Pharaoh's doing?
That's not what Pharaoh's doing, but I just imagine like a dancing circle like that.
Yeah,
Mine's
yeah.
a 12. A gentleman's 12.
A
Gentleman's 12.
Ever so slightly better. The rest of the pirates, they're clapping along. They're not very impressed. They're kind of like turning to each other, and it's a little bit sad. Where these two have just like entered into the circle, started dancing off, and it's basically a draw. It's a mediocre draw.
Okay, I'm doing like the shopping cart and the lawnmower and stuff like that. So
No doubt, yeah.
killer moves.
Drek's doing the worm right now. So yeah.
Nose
what are you doing?
is extremely uncomfortable with this entire thing because the whole reason she came to Bilgewater is because there is this necrotic mist that is taking over her homeland, and it's causing a lot of strife and a lot of trouble. So the fact that her trying to find help for her people, she has gotten herself into the same type of trouble. She is just not in a good headspace. So she's trying very hard to gather up the boys, and she's standing at the rail where they came up from the rowboat, and she wants to get off this ship as soon as possible.
I like how your jobs always ends up being wrangling us boys.
That's like that's
truly,
my description. Yep.
Yeah, in real life or fantasy, like that's what it is.
If you have a job that you're good at, you know what I mean? So I guess I'm gonna try to get like everybody's attention and make it very clear that like heave ho, like let's get in this rowboat and get this disaster kicked off.
I do the shopping cart over to her, trying to stay in the mood.
So Talium obviously leaves that chat, and just sort of as he leaves the door, he's kind of almost like Captain Jacking it, like Captain Jack Sparrow, like he's just sort of, doing kind of like a mild stagger, trying to, make people think that he was tipsy from drinking with Bragg. And then just,
make a deception or performance check, your choice for that one. Ooh. And anyone who is at all interested in what Talium has been up to can make an insight check.
Okay. I guess I'll go deception. That's going to be 18. Because I'm 14 on the base roll and then 4 for deception.
I got a nat 20.
Oh.
I got a 3 for my insight.
Drek isn't interested.
So Nosei, you're standing over near the rope ladder to the boat, impatiently waiting for these shenanigans to come to an end, and you spot Taylum exit the cabin, shortly followed by Bragg. And as this, Taylum he's kind of swaying and staggering a little bit, but you sense that he's pretending. He's not drunk at all.
Nosei will note this and gesture them all over toward her, and she's gonna stand on the railing. Is there like a rope that is going from, assuming that it's going from like the deck down to where the rowboat is to moor it?
Yeah.
So like there's the ladder and then a rope. Okay, so she's gonna stand there holding on to that rope, and she's gonna let all the guys file down into the rowboat first. So she wants to be the last one standing.
Not so concerned about your tail now, are we?
No, she's mad.
Her self-conscious nature goes out the window whenever she's pissed. All right,
Yes.
Pharaoh's gonna
Yes.
go down the ladder with no props and say, "Don't mind if I do, my lady."
So you're all down in the boat?
Well, so Nosei standing on the deck is going to point at Gangplank, and she's gonna yell across the deck to where he is.
Oh God.
She's gonna yell at him and say, "I do not trust you, and I do not believe that we are going to get out of this okay. But you should know that if you double-cross us, all of the wrath of Ionia will be upon you." And she casts Create Bonfire in the middle of the deck, holds on to the rope, and just like an aerial silk dancer, like slowly and delicately twirls down as she flips him off going down the rope and lands delicately in the
Make an
boat
acrobatics
below.
check for it.
I'm gonna scream back, "I did not agree to this." To Gangplank. Sorry, Gangplank, I did not agree.
Oh my god, it's another nat 20.
Jesus Christ,
Okay.
Nice.
what is going
Perfect.
on?
I can send it to you if you want to see it, but I
This is
got
terrible,
nat
dude.
20 plus 2, so 22.
So about 3/4 of the way through your tirade, the pirate crew began to laugh derisively until you just went, and this bonfire explodes on the deck, and everyone just like hops to and starts running around. There's buckets of water. They start putting him out. You twirl down, Varishnikov style, down the rope into the boat, and you all like push off post haste. And you just see, while the rest of the crew is just a swarm of chaos as they start putting out the bonfire that you've set, you see Gangplank unmoving, just staring daggers deep into your soul as you all drift off into the mist-covered harbour and the rest of the night. But there is no repercussions for the time being.
Thank God. Oh my God. I'm so, like, inside of me, I'm so upset right now because I'm like, Jesus Christ, I just had a plan work out, and this is what happens.
That plan to screw the rest of us over.
And
Yeah,
we'll
right?
We'll see what happens here. But
So you guys are all now in the boat. As you set away from the wise man's folly, you can see the continuing glow of the bonfire slowly fade out into the fog as you return through Bilgewater Bay back to the docks. For the moment, at least, you are alone and together.
all right, everyone. Now that we're alone, we need to have ourselves quite the conversation about everything that just happened. So, first of all, we need to do this now because we're in the waters, and this is the only place where we can have a little bit of sanctuary to talk freely. Out on the streets of Bilgewater, I can promise you right now, if Gangplank is alive, he has eyes and ears everywhere. You have no idea how powerful he is. We have to be very careful whenever we go about him. Now, I went upstairs and had a little conversation with Gangplank. I'm going to tell you exactly what happened up there. And I did this because I saw that, Taylum, you had yourselves a little conversation with Braggs. Am I correct?
Yes.
All right, well, let's all get our cards out on the table. I have a little bit of a plan put in place now that I think gives us the best position possible for this situation that we're in. Once again, I want to emphasize, Gangplank is a dangerous, dangerous man. So we have to be careful about how we go about this. Now, Taylum, would you go ahead and explain to us what it is your conversation was about with Mr. Braggs?
Well, as they say, gentlemen's first.
Alright, so we're all witnessing this. You will tell us what happened in that office with Briggs if I tell you what happened in the office with Gangplank. Is that right?
As long as I determine you're not full of scrit.
Can I check insight on that?
Go for it. You can roll persuasion or deception, your choice, true, based on what it is that you're doing.
It'll be persuasion on that one. Not that it's going to roll great either way.
Ooh, that is a
gonna be
6 plus a 2, so it's an 8 for me.
I got a 9 plus a 4 on the persuasion, so that's 13.
Okay. He seems to be on the level.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and say, alright, so after I saw you having a bit of a conversation with Mr. Braggs, I assumed you tried to put together some kind of situation that would work to our favor with him. So figuring you were doing something like that, I went ahead and took the opportunity to take Gangplank upstairs and talk to him a little bit about how the captain of Neptune's Folly might not be as trustworthy as he may think. So, my goal is...
before he lets him continue, you instantly see Taylor get incredibly pissed off, saying, "Why would you do that?"
Well, I did it, so this way we can get out of this situation alive. You see, you don't know who you're dealing with. Gangplank is much more dangerous than anyone that you have ever encountered, I can promise you that. Just his name strikes fear into the eyes of anyone who comes across him. This man Braggs does not have the spine to take down Gangplank. Now, when the opportunity presents itself for him to turn on Gangplank, I can promise you he will not be able to stomach it. Now, by me making this deal with Gangplank, it puts us in a particularly unique situation to be able to pivot to whoever side we want, believably so, whenever the most advantageous opportunity presents itself. That might be siding with this man Braggs, who, as I said, I don't think has the spine to do what you say. Or we team up with Gangplank and take down this man Braggs and we prove our loyalty to him, and then we try to find some other way after we extend our life beyond this black mark. Third option would be finding someone else to team up with, and while they're too busy worrying about who's gonna backstab who, we can take them both out with the right ally.
And what is it exactly you think I was doing, you numbskull?
I think you were potentially getting us dead is what I think. This works out better for all of us. If your man Braggs thinks that you're in his pocket and that you control our group, and then Gangplank thinks that I'm in his pocket and I control our group, and that we're testing the loyalty of Mr. Braggs, then we have the position that we want. And on top of that, as I said, we could team up with a third party, perhaps Sarah Fortune, someone who could potentially get us out of this situation altogether, and the only other person I can think of that actually has the balls to be able to do something.
Or now he's going to be analyzing every move that his first mate makes, meaning that if we did have any hope of them helping us should that moron-bearded twat turn on us at the end, that we have no help. Do you understand what you've done?
That's not true. Gangplank thinks that you are in our group and you are simply testing his loyalty. That's the way I spelled it out to Gangplank. So he thinks that you're on our side and that we're doing him a favor. That's the way it goes right now. So we can team up with him if we need.
Oh, the guy that just cursed us. Yeah, sounds like a great plan.
You don't understand how Bilgewater works, or who Gangplank is, or who Braggs is, or who Sarah Fortune is. You don't understand anything. All you have to do is play your part in this game. Keep talking to Braggs. If the opportunity presents itself that we have a very likely chance of defeating Gangplank, then we team up with Braggs. Gangplank won't know that it's coming because he thinks that I'm in his pocket. And then we'll all switch over to Braggs' side, which will throw him for a loop. But in the more likely situation that we are going to die by Gangplank if we try to do anything with Braggs, we can switch over freely anytime we want over to Gangplank's side, and you still look like you're on our team. I'm telling you right now, it's the perfect plan.
Except for the fact that you threw me personally under the bus. I was the one making that plan. You point that out, I'm on his radar.
Small price to pay, I say. Besides, I told him that you were nothing more than a dog on my leash anyways.
You want to go for a swim, little man?
No say is gonna stand up and get between them because I am sure that they're doing that bro thing where they're leaning in closer and closer and closer as it's getting more heated.
Drek is laughing like hysterically right now.
So she is gonna use her tail to like shut up Drek, like wrap it around his mouth to shut him up, and then she's going to put a hand on Taylum's shoulder, but on Pharaoh's chest because she wants like touch that he'll respond to, and she's just gonna take a breath and be like, "Ladies, if we could stop fighting for a moment, I think we are missing the bigger picture here. Maybe, as the only spellcaster, I'm the only one who thought of this, but there has to be someone in this godforsaken town who knows something about this magic. Perhaps there is a way we can undo this curse without fulfilling his requests, not requiring us to make a deal with anyone but ourselves."
I mean, that is, of course, part of my plan. It's a foolproof plan, as I said. There's something like an onion. There's so many layers to this plan you couldn't possibly comprehend. None of you, but especially this fool right here.
Oh, except for the fact that onions smell so bad they make your eyes water.
Can I cast Entangle on Pharaoh to shut him up, like to create like vines around his mouth so he can't talk?
You can.
While this is happening, Drek is starting to suffocate because she's wrapped her tail around him and he can't breathe. So he's like, he's starting to go.
I will let Drek go, and I'm going to threaten like vines and stuff start coming from my hands, and I imagine Drek and I will share a look and kind of roll our eyes at Pharaoh and be like, "Listen, I know that you are a very fleshy man and you like to impress people, but if I have to tie you up and drop you in this water and pull you out right before the moment that you drown to get you to see reason, I absolutely will. Now, why don't we come up with a plan that we're all in agreement with and try to get out of this alive?"
Look, that sounds like a fantastic idea, okay? We know my plan, we know his plan. Let me just go ahead and say that I think the best situation that we could possibly go for right now is to make ourselves allied with Misfortune. We find Sarah Fortune, we barter some kind of deal with her. She has her fingers in so many pots, I am positive that she's going to be able to at least point us in the direction of someone that can handle this curse. And she's the only one that I trust to actually be able to handle someone like Gangplank. While Gangplank and Braggs are too worried about who's going to backstab who, we're going to be able to come in with Misfortune and clean house. She's the only one I take to be able to wipe them both out at the same time.
Don't you think that they are going to be watching for us to go straight to the top? They said they want us to start from the bottom. Perhaps for the sake of optics, we start at the bottom, and after we complete the first task, then, with less heat, we find a way around what they're asking us to do.
So you're saying, just to clarify, you're saying that we should indeed try to make a bargain with her, but later on, once we've already completed some of the goals.
Surely she will not miss someone at the bottom of her organization. Certainly, the Metal Mistress has to be disposable. And, who knows, she might not be all that loyal once she is faced with certain death.
Well, I think that's a swell idea. Now, I look over at Taylum and I say, I know how much you like gun pots. Isn't that right? And I look for like a little bit of like a perk up in him being pissed off at me attitude.
And instead, that anger intensifies because this whole wild goose chase came from the lie that there was gun parts on that boat. So instead, yeah. How far away are we from the dock right now?
I would say you're pretty close. Yeah, you're coming in at this point.
Okay, so just wanting to get off this boat as quickly as possible and to show the fact that he's incredibly pissed off with him trying to be manipulated through gun parts, he fires a shot directly through the bottom of the boat.
So this gunshot crack echoes across Bilgewater Bay. You see some snoozing seagulls suddenly take flight, and water starts spurting through the bottom of the boat, and you're about, we'll say, 60 feet from dry land.
I'm gonna say, are you crazy? You just shot a hole in the boat. This is the only thing that we have to our name right now, and we need it. And I'm gonna start frantically, like, pulling my hands together and trying to splash out the incoming water back into the ocean. And I'm gonna say, quick, Nose, can you please plug this thing up with your tail or something?
Nose is gonna pick up Drek and put him on her shoulders, and she's gonna kind of give a knowing look at Taylum, and she's going to like get super close to Pharaoh and lean in and whisper in his ear, I think this is something for you to deal with, handsome. And she's going to jump into the water and swim to shore. And I'm sure she'll be fine because she can swim really well, and so can Drek.
Yeah, and I just say,
See you, suckers.
and then yeah,
And I'm gonna sit here in the sinking boat now, looking at him, and I'm gonna at Taylor, and I'm say, "Well, look what you've done now."
Oh, you didn't plan for this? I thought you had a multi-layered plan that factored in everything.
Well, it didn't factor in a crazy person shooting a gun into the hull of our tiny little ship in the middle of the ocean. I'm sorry, I did not account for that.
Well, maybe for your next plan you should.
This is crazy. I'm getting out of here. This is absolutely crazy. And as I'm getting ready to figure out what to do next, stand up and look into the water, I look back at him and I say, look, we got to get off this
So
boat.
halfway through his talking, I just dive into the water and start swimming.
I'm going to look exasperated up into the air, and I stand up and I'm like, are we serious, guys? Guys, come. I am not a strong swimmer. Can I please get some assistance over here? Guys, no say. I'm sorry. Can you please come back and get me? I don't want to swim through these waters. Guys, there are all kinds of killer fish in here. Oh my God. I'm just going to kind of sit in the boat for a little bit, thinking about the decisions that led my life to this point. And as it starts to go like down, I'm going to swim to shore.
So while he's sitting in the ship, right, while it's sinking, Drek yells out, he's like,
Your clothes are gonna get wet.
and just
Shut up. Nothing from you. I do not need that from you right now. And prepare myself to do a frantic, very poor swim back over to the shore.
I would imagine that Drake would be pretty stoked because he finally got the bath he's been searching for since being on the inside of a kraken.
There you go.
oh, I'm like doing the backstroke.
Just like
It's a
spinning
terrible
water
idea.
up in the air like a fountain.
I'm like a dolphin.
We're in
just-
Bilgewater with the most dangerous like fish literally everywhere, and we just sunk our own ship and are now having to swim to shore. This is a terrible idea.
And I think that the image of you all one by one paddling your way to the safety of shore away from the boat that has just burst a leak might be the perfect metaphor for the direction that this party is going, and a good place for us to end the session.
Ew.
Nice.
All right, so that is going to wrap up the session for this week, everyone. As you can see, we are now stuck in a very sticky situation. So anyways, thank you all so much for tuning in. We hope that you had a blast listening. We'll have the links for everything in the description, but in the meantime, you can of course check us out at alternatedreality.com for more information on our projects, including our other D&D podcast, League of Extraordinary Dicemen. And we will soon have a page on our site for this project specifically as well, so don't worry. And you can also follow us at on Twitter at AlternateReal, or also at RuinationPod if you want some more specific Legends of Runeterra stuff for the League of Legends universe. And lastly, don't forget to like, subscribe, and review on Apple Podcasts, just to make it a little bit more fun. We will do what we do on our LOR pod, the Ruination. For every 5-star review we get, we will read it off in a character of the show, League of Legends, or Legends of Runeterra character voice of your choosing. So just let us know somewhere at the beginning or end of the review, and we will definitely give it our best shot. I imagine most of those are going to be going to Chew because he's the impression master. So no work for us, all work for him. So it's good stuff. Good stuff.
Is it the...
It's good stuff.
It's good stuff.
Good stuff.
Chew, time for plugs. Go ahead and hit us up.
Yeah, absolutely. So make sure you check out our video content at youtube.com/alternate reality. And you can find me, Chewburger84, on all the socials, mainly spending time on Twitter and Twitch.
All right. And then Ray, go ahead and plug.
So you can follow me on Twitter and Reddit at Ray Mayhem. Twitter is a lot of D&D and Legends of Runeterra content. If you like Legends of Runeterra, go ahead and go over to the Ruination podcast. Take a listen. It's Mike and Sean and I, and it's a lot of fun. We go over a lot of the nuts and bolts. I am also over on the League of Extraordinary Dicemen, and that's where the rowdy boys want to go. It's a little more. It's a little more.
Hard R.
Yeah, hard R for sure. And also, if you're into miniature painting, I am getting back heavier into that. I am pretty okay at it, and I'm doing a little project for Shibby right now because we love him and I want to send him some stuff to use. So follow me on there, and I'll be posting some of the things I'm doing. And if you have questions or anything,
Why
like
does
that,
miniature painting make it sound like you like doing body art on Drek?
That's gonna be a thing now.
Oh God! Now
Yeah.
that gives me
That is a
ideas.
Drek's gonna get a miniature. I'm excited.
No, Drake's gonna be
Drake's
the miniature.
gonna get body painted like he's going to Coachella. I'm gonna paint
just
him.
become the canvas for No Says
I'm gonna paint him like he's a rich white girl going to a music festival.
Oh, God.
It's gonna be so
those.
good.
Yeah, it's gonna be those.
Drake's
What is it? The
excited for
flower
that.
crowns
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
Yep.
All right, guys. Well, that is it as promised. This has been Adventures of Runeterra, and we will see you next week.